They say heroes only exist on screen, right? And, well, sometimes the real story behind a familiar face is maybe darker, more complex than anyone really imagines.
Welcome to the deep dive. Yeah, today we're looking into some really turbulent source material. It's all revolving around the actor Jeremy Renner. He's facing these pretty explosive accusations of serious misconduct.
From a filmmaker he was working with, yeah.
Exactly, from a filmmaker.
So that's our mission today, really, to try and move past the big headlines and, neutrally unpack these tangled claims and the counterclaims, too.
Yeah, our sources here present two totally opposite realities. They just can't both be true.
Right. So it's not really about us deciding who's right. It's more about understanding the specifics, the mechanics of the allegations, the details in the denial, and what all these moves actually imply, for reputation, public trust.
And we have to look closely at the details from both sides because, honestly, they shake up everything you might expect from a public figure like him.
It really does feel like a classic he said, she said scenario, but amplified, right, by the celebrity status and this potential weaponization of power that's being alleged.
Absolutely. So let's start with the filmmaker's narrative. Her story focuses not just on misconduct, but on what she describes as a pretty stark, maybe even terrifying, abuse of power.
Okay, let's unpack that side first. So her central claim is that his conduct crossed several lines, blurring professional and personal.
Yes, involving alleged non-consensual physical interaction, and then escalating, she says, into intimidation.
And there's a timeline attached to
A
this.
very specific one, yeah.
Yeah.
She asserts that back in June 2025, this conduct began, specifically with a string of unwanted, unsolicited pornographic images of himself, sent apparently from Renner via direct messages and WhatsApp. So that immediately sets the stage, right? Suggesting the interaction was inappropriate, digitally initiated.
That detail, the unsolicited images, that's kind of the first major red flag in her story. Suggests a lack of professional boundaries, clearly. But then it gets darker. The power dynamic shifts from just maybe creepy behavior to allegedly criminal threats.
That's the claim.
She says when she challenged him not just about the images, but about their professional work together, the source material says he allegedly threatened to call U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, on her.
Yeah, and that alleged threat is, well, it's crucial here. It's a massive escalation. Because if true, the filmmaker wasn't just dealing with, say, unwanted advances or workplace friction. She was allegedly facing the threat of deportation.
Which is terrifying.
It moves the whole dispute, out of the realm of just a civil matter or professional disagreement into genuine existential fear.
Yeah.
It's leveraging his huge influence against her potentially vulnerable legal status.
Exactly. It weaponizes his power way beyond just being famous. This alleged threat, it really defines the whole context for her. She describes feeling, fear, uncertainty, isolation.
And highlighting that massive imbalance between a major Hollywood star and someone, trying to build their career.
Yeah.
And that context, she says, is why she decided to go public.
Right. She frames it as self-protection.
Exactly. Self-protection and professional survival is the quote, I think. Necessary to shield her reputation, maybe prevent more damage, and frankly, perhaps ensure she could stay in the country, given that alleged threat.
And it doesn't stop there, does it? She suggests this isn't just a one-off incident.
No, she claims there's another woman,
Yeah.
allegedly a victim of the same kind of pattern, who is waiting to speak out.
So she's positioning this as potentially systemic behavior, not just a single mistake or misunderstanding.
That seems to be the implication, yeah. So that's one narrative. Unsolicited images, alleged non-consensual contact, severe intimidation via this alleged ICE threat.
Okay. A really serious set of claims.
Definitely. But now we absolutely have to turn to Renner's defense. And it's not just a simple denial. It feels like a scorched earth counterattack.
Yeah.
It completely flips the narrative.
So his camp, through his attorney, what are they saying?
Unwavering denial. They're calling the claims false, outrageous, and highly defamatory. Full stop.
And they present their own timeline, one that suggests she's the aggressor.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Let's break down their alternative timeline. His lawyer asserts the relationship was really minimal.
Okay.
They apparently met only twice. Once in July for an interview she did with him in Reno for her documentary, then briefly again in August.
Just twice.
That's the claim. And crucially, they assert there was a single consensual encounter on July 12th. And that, they say, was the beginning and the absolute end of any intimate relationship.
Okay, but this is where, you need to start thinking critically. If it was just one consensual night and two brief meetings,
Yeah.
why the need for such an aggressive counter-narrative?
Well, that's the thing. His team immediately pivots to a counterclaim of relentless harassment from her side, which suggests something much deeper, or at least messier, was going on than just two meetings.
Right, so this is a strategy then, the retaliation angle.
It looks like a classic legal and PR move, yeah. Renner's attorney is claiming her explosive allegations are basically revenge. Revenge after he supposedly rejected her romantic advances definitively.
So they're painting her as the one pursuing him relentlessly.
That's the picture they're painting, yes.
And do they offer specifics to back that up? Because that narrative seems inconsistent with just two meetings.
They do offer one very specific and quite dramatic detail. The attorney claims she sent hundreds of unsolicited messages. Hundreds. Expressing, apparently, her love for him and also making demands that he promote her film.
Wow, hundreds of messages. That detail feels key to their strategy.
It is. Because, like you said, if it was just one consensual night, why hundreds of messages? It suggests either the relationship was way more complex and drawn out than his side admits, or the alleged harassment was incredibly intense and focused. Either way, it serves to establish a potential motive for her claims, framing her as perhaps emotionally unstable or a scorned person seeking payback.
Okay, so given these really stark counterclaims, legal action is already happening.
It is. Renner's attorney has already gone public with a cease and desist warning.
Aimed at the filmmaker.
Yes. Warning her about potential defamation and harassment claims against her. It's a very aggressive posture.
Yeah, it is. A cease and desist, that's often a PR tool as much as a legal one in these kinds of fights, right?
Absolutely. It's the first step towards maybe suing, but its immediate goal is often to try and silence or intimidate the other party. It signals they are not taking this lightly at all.
And that they intend to use the legal system to control the narrative.
Just as she alleges he tried to use ICE to control her situation.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, the one thing that isn't really disputed here, maybe the only thing both sides agree on, is that this whole situation is incredibly messy.
Profoundly messy, yeah. We have two powerful, legally backed stories that simply cannot both be true.
And the complexity just grows when you factor in the professional context, right? This wasn't random. They were linked by this documentary project.
It's exactly. A documentary about a major studio, which had Renner attached. He was a big asset for the film.
And here you see the professional issues bleeding right into the personal allegations. Her grievance includes him allegedly refusing to promote the film publicly.
Yes, which she says damaged the project. And then there's this really weird but specific detail. She claims he allowed rumors to spread that his likeness in the documentary was actually generated using AI.
AI, that's odd. Why would that matter?
Well, it would completely undermine the legitimacy of her documentary, wouldn't it? If the star wasn't really in it. For her, it sounds like she sees it as deliberate sabotage, using misinformation to hurt her professionally.
Okay, I see. And his defense on that front?
His defense is basically he was just doing his job, fulfilling his contract, and now he's being forced to defend himself against these false narratives. Narratives may be designed to pressure him into doing more promotion, or, again, as retaliation for rejecting her.
This really pushes us into that deeper dive territory, doesn't it? Forces us, and you, the listener, to step back and think about the bigger societal implications here. This isn't just celebrity gossip. This whole situation brings up some really profound questions about power, fame, gender, how all that operates today.
Precisely. And for you, listening to this, the details of this case really force us to confront some essential questions. Like, let's start with consent.
Okay.
If we take Renner's claim at face value, a single consensual encounter, how does that massive power difference between the established star and the aspiring filmmaker potentially color that claim?
Right. Does fame itself alter the consent dynamic? Does it make it harder to be sure the less powerful person felt genuinely free to say no? Or even yes?
That's a valid question. And then flip it. How do we define harassment? His team uses the term relentless harassment about those hundreds of messages.
Yeah.
So when do persistent romantic messages, if that's what they were, cross the line? When does it become aggressive? When does it potentially cause professional damage?
And on the flip side of that, when does the vulnerability of the powerful person, a celebrity worried about their reputation, justify their really aggressive legal pushback like a cease and desist?
Which brings us right back to that core issue. How much does celebrity status ultimately shield alleged misconduct. When a star can instantly deploy top lawyers and issue public defamation warnings, well, how much does that chill genuine victims from ever coming forward?
It's a chilling effect argument, but we have to balance it, right, with the equally important question: how much does fame itself just invite false accusations or maybe opportunism?
That's the other side, yeah.
Yeah.
The potential rewards, financial or reputational, for engaging with the celebrity, even negatively, can be huge.
Yeah.
It forces you to ask, is the motivation truly self-protection, like the filmmaker claims? Or is it some kind of strategic leverage?
It's a minefield of trust, isn't it? Both sides are claiming fear. She's claiming fear of deportation, professional ruin. He's claiming fear of reputational destruction.
And the immediate future? Well, our sources confirm it involves ongoing investigations, more aggressive legal letters flying back and forth, and definitely intensified public scrutiny, which will probably just polarize the whole conversation even more.
So let's recap where we are. We've laid out two fiercely competing narratives. On one side, the filmmaker's detailed story, unsolicited images, abuse of power, that chilling ICE threat.
And on the other side, the actor's counter story. A single consensual encounter followed by what he calls relentless romantic harassment from her, leading to her allegations as retaliation.
The actual facts, they're blurry right now. The motivations seem deeply tangled up with these professional grievances, too. And the legal fight, well, it looks like it's only just getting started.
Yeah, it's impossible to hold both of these truths at the same time. They're mutually exclusive.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought, something for you to really chew on. In this modern celebrity climate where that line between public image and private conduct is constantly being argued over, in the court of public opinion, how much faith can we actually place in any single narrative when things get this messy? When that heroic facade cracks, we, the public, are sort of left sifting through these highly strategic, conflicting testimonies. What's our obligation? Do we have to pick sides? Or do we just wait, maybe forever, for some version of the truth that satisfies either a legal standard or, maybe, a moral one?
It's a tough question, and the drama here is certainly far from over. Thank you for diving deep with us into this really complex, really challenging situation.
We'll definitely continue to watch how this story unfolds.